Hey, what's going on, guys? Dr. Sean J. Harris here, and the lovely bride, Tara.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, listen, Tara and I were just talking, and she just actually said, Sean, what are some of the things you think resonate with people when it comes to you or your brand? And, I really had to think about it, and I was like, I think some people probably don't like me. I have an abrasive personality on the surface, but I really am a big teddy bear. But I think some of the things that resonate the most with us or with me, or what is seen, is the image of family. Family is one of the biggest things that's important to me. That's part of generational wealth. You can't really have generational wealth without the generations. You got to have relationships, family, but cohesiveness.
That's one of the reasons I married you.
I know it.
A lot of people always say, like, well, how do you balance this or that? Or how you balance family and work and business or whatever it is. And one of the things I found with you was that balancing it wasn't hard for you. It was something you just did.
Mm-hmm.
Like the family always came first, but everything else was still always taken care of. And that's the kind of security women look for.
Yeah, and that's just something that's important to me. Growing up, we used to have family meetings where my parents would pull the kids together and they would just talk about things, talk about finances, just the dynamics of the household. And I always knew that was a relationship building activity. But more so, mom and dad was able to know me, what was on my mind that particular week, my older brother, my younger sister, even the dog, if they wanted to get involved in the conversation. But, I think another part of what we talked about was what prevents people from reaching out for help. And I really assessed that and gave it some thought. And what I really came up with is that as uncomfortable as it is, I think a lot of times people don't exercise humility and are humble in different ways. And to be quite honest, I think that I am diametrically the opposite. I'm the polar opposite of what most people's parents taught them. We've all been taught, go to school, get good grades, go to college, get this great degree, work a great job, and live happily ever after. And I'm just the total opposite. That's my brand, C Student CEO. You guys know the story. Ms. Byram told me most out amount to as a warehouse worker as a C student, but I have proved that theory and that axiom wrong. So I think so many times it bothers people in their spirit sometimes. It's not that they don't like me necessarily. It's just that mama told me that I had to do this to yield this result. And then when they see me doing the complete opposite of what they've always been taught, it just does something in the spirit. So I think that it's important that people have to be able to break that stronghold and just say, you know what? I know this is what my parents may have taught me, but I got to do something different if I want a different result.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel people look at you and they can't relate? Some people, because they may say, okay, that was good for him, mm-hmm. or he's doing fine. What do you think about that?
I do. I think people do see, and
because
that's
they
partially,
haven't seen.
Yeah, that's partially my fault, I guess, because I don't put it out the behind the scenes about. We just talked about it. We laughed about it. We lived in a little 3-bedroom house. The upstairs would be blazing hot, the downstairs would be freezing cold. So the wintertime, we never went downstairs.
This was when we first got,
when we first got together, pretty much, and mm-hmm. first got married and everything. So we both come from previous marriages. Mm-hmm. We don't really go into that a lot with people. So I think what people see now is the end result. They see the nice, pretty package with the pretty bow and the ribbons and all that kind of stuff, but you don't see the behind the scenes, and that's our fault.
Yeah, because
we need to convey that a little bit more, and I think people see the ready-made package deal.
Mm-hmm. They see the lifestyle, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. I want to do that," or "That looks fun," or they look like they just got it all together.
Yeah,
but there was a lot of grit in between.
Oh yeah, and I post that, but I don't go into detail. A lot of times I say, "Hey, it wasn't always this way." Whenever we travel, we're out the country, and I'm on the beach watching the sunrise or something like that. That's the first thing I open up with. It was, "Hey, it wasn't always this way," and it wasn't. And I think many times people like to gravitate towards the struggle. It's like, oh, you got to struggle to make it, and this and that. Yeah, that's part of the process most of the time, but we don't dwell on the struggle. We did it, we went through it, and we continue moving on. We still have struggles like anybody else to this day still, but we don't highlight that. We don't gravitate around that. We don't put a lot of energy into that. because I did a video not too long ago where I talked about sometimes, it's about being consistent, persistent, because every day there's somebody that's counting on you to show up. Every day somebody's counting on seeing a video post or seeing words of affirmation I may post up just to inspire them. So if you're not showing up that one particular area, you're not being consistent as a business leader, then many times people can fall off, and then that's your fault. I know that I'm not responsible for these people, but I am responsible for them because I'm a business leader. And that's just, that in and of itself is a part of my legacy, a part of our generational wealth. It's how many other families are positively affected because of something that we've done as a family, actions, something you've seen, whether Kennedy's business having a vitamin line or having black baby dolls, whether it's Caden's bus that could inspire you at any age from 70 to 77. It doesn't really matter. If you see inspiration in somebody, at that point you become responsible to make sure those people kind of stay inspired by your actions. I don't never want to be the reason why somebody fell off because I wasn't consistent or persistent.
So talk about some of those struggles.
Jeez. Like what? Being homeless for 63 days, being in a position where I only ate Now Later candy and drunk coffee for 3 weeks straight. That was my only source of food or beverage. Sleeping on couches in different homes, people I didn't even really know. Sleeping in the basement, slept in cars. It's a whole bunch of struggles. How about having your bank account garnished?
Yeah.
$35,000 in the hole. A lot of struggles there. Mm-hmm. Losing loved ones. All kind of stuff. We go through it all.
Well, now talk about some things that were hard, but not necessarily a struggle, or how you started in the beginning, but you didn't. But it doesn't stay the same. So you start out like with your businesses. Talk about that.
Well, one company we had was our cleaning company. The kids worked in the cleaning company. I remember Kaden was scared of the dark, and we're in this big, major like TV network kind of place. They did movie production. And, we told Kaden, this is your responsibility to clean this part of the building. If it was dark sometimes, he would go running through the building to start empty the trash cans. I'm just going to kind of jump around a little bit with the security firm. With that, I was working a contract during the day. Then at night, I worked another part of the contract, which is kind of a different arm. But then I started realizing, I said, hey, you know what? I can hire subcontractors to do this while still capturing the bulk of the contract. So if it was contracts that was paying like $75 an hour, I paid my off-duty police officers $30 an hour. I was able to keep $40 an hour, but I didn't have to be there. Mm. But this was a journey. It was a learning curve. It's like, hey, listen, why do I need to utilize all this time when I can use other human capital? And then to get to the point to where I started what I call folding time. And I just talked about that yesterday in my video, where you start creating mini days. You got to be able to fold time to leverage time to work into your advantage. And that's what we started doing. And it works in all our companies where we start building company after company after company using other people's human capital, but more importantly, allowing other families to create revenue and create income for their families.
Right. I remember those nights that you were working, and I remember sometimes I would stop by and bring you food.
Mm-hmm. And if somebody didn't show up for a contract, I was responsible and had to make sure that it happened.
Yes. So if we had plans at night and somebody else didn't come to work, guess what?
Yep. But that company grew very quick. I was able to work and that's one thing we talk about. I'm always saying you got to work in your business to work on your business to ultimately work out of your business. And I was able to do that in that company. And that company generated tons and tons of money.
Yes. I remember you were
$250,000 a year, easy.
Mm-hmm. I remember we were in Thailand and the time difference, was it like 12 hours off or something?
Because it's like we were just waking up in the morning, like at 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was like 9:30 at night when the shifts was going on shifts. But I had to make sure that we had our system where they would text in, let me know that they were on property and everything. But it was good to know that we could be 17 hours around the world in Thailand, knowing that we're still making money back home.
How did it feel writing those paychecks?
Feel good. And that's one thing that I always got excited about. A lot of people say, well, you can do direct deposit, you can do Zelle and Cash App at that time. And at the time, I wasn't doing Zelle or Cash App. That was like of the devil to me. And it was just basically because I didn't understand it. But it's nothing like writing an old-fashioned check out of a corporate account. And again, like I say, it's gratifying for me to know that because I had a dream, I had a vision, that other families can eat because of that. Mm-hmm. That's gratifying. That's what feels good to know that kids were able to be in private schools because of a vision, a dream that I had. They were able to, some people, their wives could be at home. You know, you haven't worked in almost 7 years after firing your job. So
yes. I remember that when doing your 1099s, and there was somebody who worked for you, they made $40,000 that year. Mm-hmm. So like to put that into another household, like that's awesome.
And that was $40,000 part-time because they still work their full-time job. Yeah. And then, like you said, it's just a great feeling to know that these kids can have great Christmases. They can have luxuries and stuff in life and be able to participate in extracurricular activity. So that's the cool part about being a boss. You know, so many people talk about, I'm the boss. Well, it's gratifying being a boss because of the serendipities like that. That's what's cool to me. Not to be like, well, I'm your boss, so I tell you what to do. It's just knowing that you can create visions and just put money in households. Mm-hmm. That's dope.
Now let's talk about the bus.
Okay.
Because people see the bus, they're like, "Oh, we saw you raise $50,000." Like, "Oh, that's cool, that's cute, that's good for y'all." But give me some behind the scenes.
Man, the bus.
Well, the bus, for one, you know, Kaden got it at a good price, but for 6 months we parked that bus.
And had to pay storage.
And paid storage, $150 a month.
Just sitting there.
And we weren't doing anything with it at that time.
Just sitting there. Did I say just sitting there?
It was sitting there.
It was just sitting there. I would crank that thing up, just drive around the parking lot just to keep it moving. But one of the things with that was, we actually started the process of, we put some epoxy floor in it and everything. We just laughed about it this morning, actually. We had our little vision for the bus, but then again, God had a bigger vision for the bus.
Yeah.
And things started lining up.
We thought we were getting a shuttle bus at first. Remember the smaller one?
Like the little small airport type bus.
Yes.
And we found out it was going to be that bus. And I was like, man, is that more bus than we really need? So things really lined up perfectly for that. Kaden was able to purchase the bus. The guy that was fixing the bus for us does immaculate work, as you guys can see. But he presented an offer to us. I always talk about being ready for opportunities.
We got to go back some more.
Okay, let me talk about opportunities real quick. You got to be ready for opportunities because I'm always saying people are so busy when somebody's at the door, they ask, who is it? They're looking through the peephole, they're unlatching all these latches, and by the time they finally sling the door open, guess what? Opportunities at your next door neighbor knocking on their door because they were ready. So, you know, what do you want to say? Go back to what?
You went straight to David. You got to go back because that's not the first person that we contacted to do
the bus. We had a guy, he came out and assessed the bus. We can do this, we can do that. We never heard back from him. We had this other person that was going to draw some schematics, never called us back. We had a lot of people in the shoot that we were going to pay money to get the bus done. Somebody has one idea. We thought it was the grandiose idea, but now we look in hindsight, I was like, man, it was like Boogie Down Productions. It wasn't going to be good at all.
So after we couldn't get in contact with those people, we were like, well,
one last shot.
Let's just do it. Let's just do it by ourselves, but just do things a little bit at a time. So we'll hire a contractor for this, a different one for that. And
that didn't work either.
Once
she had some little sticker things that were like bricks that we were going to stick on the walls. We were going to put like that little carpeting all on the wall.
That was
like
your idea.
It was crazy.
That carpet was your idea.
But anyway, we called this one last guy. He said, hey, I'm going to call you guys at 1 o'clock on like a Wednesday or something. I was like, all right. It was like 12:58. I'm like, this dude better call. And guess what? 2 minutes later, ring, ring, ring. He called. David got on the phone. He said, man, I can do this. We can do that. We gave him ideas what we wanted. Kaden was involved in the process on the phone talking to him. It was probably like later on that day, he came back with a schematic, a 3D imaging schematic of like, yo, it's going to look like this. And at the end of the phone call, he said, hey, guys, real quick, might be a shot in the dark. I don't know if you guys are interested. I'm working with a TV production company that are putting together a process of actually renovating like buses or mobile homes and trailers. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a flip my house kind of deal. So we said, sure. That same company called us later on that day, and that's when the process started of what you guys now see with the bus, going through the renovation process, being on a major network.
Let me stop right here. Because one thing people think that if you were on TV, either you got paid or they paid for the build out. Address that.
We paid for that build out.
Yes.
That was a $53,000 build out. Caden started a capital raise. He started going to CEOs, major corporations. That's another thing too. I think a lot of times people think we did all that. I may have supplied a phone number, but Caden met a lot of CEOs and C-suite executives.
Where? At
just business conferences that he would go to. And I say, hey, you made contact, get on the phone and call him. So Caden, with that little squeaky voice you guys all know of, hello, this is your boy Caden. And he introduced himself, gave a professional pitch, and these companies started sewing into his business.
We kept some of those recordings too.
Oh, absolutely. We are going to, because we're doing a documentary series, so we will be airing those. So Caden pulled off the capital raise, but here's the deal too. I think a lot of people don't know either. About 2 weeks out, because we
talk about the nose.
We got a ton of no's. A ton of no's.
Yeah, there was one bank. They're not local to Atlanta, but they were like, well, we're doing a certain kind of bus. So that's a conflict. They felt like it was a conflict of interest. Not that they didn't think it was a good idea. So that was a no.
And then we had this major company, local, and they made this apparent promise that, look, I think this is going to be a great deal. We're going to work together. We're going to put our big company name on the side of the bus and touring the whole country. That didn't work out either. So a lot of people actually hyped Caden up, making them think he was going to get certain collaborations that fell through. And our thing is, we allow our kids to get no's, because if you don't, you build weak kids. So we let them see the process and explain to them, you got to get 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 no's to get the one yes, but the one yes can be your major breakthrough, which he's experienced and saw that. So a lot of people made promises to, at that time, a 10-year-old kid, an 11-year-old kid, and they didn't commit. And we'd rather you just say, no, I'm not interested, or whatever.
And where you would think large corporations, like, hey, they have the money right. No, all his sponsors were small business owners.
Yep.
All of them. And people would ask us things like, well, is this black owned or black invested or black sponsored? We would have loved that. But guess what? We had to go outside our community because they were the ones who saw the vision.
Absolutely.
For some, we do have black sponsors.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it was with confidence. We just went out and put the build out date, the grand opening, and the bus wasn't even complete.
No.
It was 2 weeks. The bus literally was ready like 2 days before the grand opening, and it still wasn't all the way ready. When we had grand opening, the bus still wasn't finished. We had some prop stuff up just for the cameras.
We had to give the bus back to them after the grand opening.
Yeah, after grand opening, they drove the bus back to the shop. So okay, now we got to finish some stuff. But we had to do what we had to do. And again, with that, we had to still raise some money the day before. Dave was like, hey, guys, I know we're working on this bus and everything, but we need a little bit more money to keep the process going.
He's like, we are over budget.
Way over budget.
But I still need some more money.
Yeah.
So we were, 2 weeks out. I know we still needed maybe 10 or 15,000. And we had connected with one of our guys. Yes. And he had a foundation. He's like, well, they can probably give you the money, but the way this works, it's not going to happen in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it ain't going to happen in time.
It's like maybe a month or longer. So here we are with this $10,000, $15,000 bill left on the bus, and we had to go in our own pockets. Like, that's what you do as entrepreneurs, as business. You got to figure it out. And
then the cool thing about it was, Caden made all the money back to be able to fund the whole bus within his first month. And we showed a video on that where we showed the receipts and showed that he was just shy of making $10,000 his first 30 days in business with the bus. So again, as Tara just said, you got to be willing to pay the price, be sacrificial, and know that the results are going to be there, because we knew that the results were going to be there. And it's like every week we were presented new opportunities because we operated in faith. We didn't operate scared. Scared money don't make money. So it's like constantly we're getting we have so many things on the table just with the bus business right now.
And the show hasn't even came out.
Yeah, when that airs, that's a whole nother animal there that's gonna be a beast.
Right.
So we got multiple TV show opportunities. We got major corporations
partnerships
meeting with.
Yeah, with schools. We didn't know Georgia Power was going to call. Mm-hmm. We didn't know Jack and Jill. We didn't know who else. This been Amerigroup
working on a contract with a major company that all you guys know. They have the big ears. I'll leave it at that.
Well, they know now.
Y'all know the company.
But there's
known
two
for the
other
big ears.
Major companies.
Yeah, we got a major bank.
And a major, what should we call them? They carry packages.
Yeah, a carrier.
They carry packages.
Y'all know the company. They come and ring your doorbell, bringing all your Amazon products.
Oh, and the one that I'm excited about for next month, the special needs school that's coming. They're actually coming here to bring in the kids. It's gonna be a great time.
Yeah, that's gonna be super dope. So it's just so much stuff. He was selected as a youth ambassador for the United Nations. Looking at the trip to Kenya, Africa, coming up in 2023. That's on the table. So it's just so many different things. So again, it's a lot that happens, but I think that so many people think that we're like the duck that just float on the water so gracefully, but they never look underneath the water to see those little legs pedaling and the journey that we went through. So I'm going to personally take it upon myself and be responsible to make sure that we start sharing that with people, because I don't want you guys to miss out and just look at us and be like, oh, that's great for you guys, but we can't never do that. And I would be remiss in doing you guys a disservice by not sharing a little bit more of our personal backstory of how we got where we got. Because as I always say, it wasn't always like this.
Right. We have, like Sean said, we have the same problems, issues y'all have. Listen, y'all, one of our vehicles, it's getting on my nerves. On my nerves. I'm like, look, let's just buy another one. But you've never seen a picture on our social media of the tow truck taking it out of here. You've never seen a picture of a flat tire, because we're always planning to get to the next step. Like we don't stay there.
Yep.
It's just like, okay, what's the solution? Let's move on. And
the universe works in accordance to your faith. Because I'll be very honest right now. Out of our 3 trucks, 1 is in the driveway. Her Tahoe, we had to get something done with the ignition switch. It's a short somewhere in there. I like her truck. It's a Tahoe.
Anybody want to buy a Tahoe?
No,
it's
I
great.
Like the Tahoe.
It's nice. It's got nice
and
wheels.
Then the Hummer, I went ahead and put the Hummer. It's getting serviced now because they don't make Hummers anymore. Not that model anyway. Some of the parts are hard to get. So I need a high pressure hydraulic hose for the power steering. So they're taking the old one off and they have to get it retrofitted and all this kind of stuff with this hydraulic line company or whatever. So 2 of those trucks are being serviced. So we're down to like 1 vehicle. Can you believe that? But it's grateful that we have multiple vehicles though. For instances like that.
I know.
But we ain't getting rid of the Tahoe, so don't nobody ask if you can buy the Tahoe.
Yes, we are.
We're not getting rid of that Tahoe.
I'll be like, but we could just go get one tomorrow, but Sean won't.
Nah. I don't do car notes and
we don't have to get one with a car note.
I know, but
to just buy cash.
And I got a couple $100 to get a new ignition switch to keep moving. Let's go. But anyway, guys, that is a little bit behind the scenes from Tara and I.
If y'all are on my side, tell Sean we're getting a new car.
Okay, guys. So again, as Kaden would say, but anyway, but yeah, we are going to start kind of sharing a little bit of that, because again, I don't want to do anyone a disservice to feel that, oh, we can't relate to them, or they can do it, but we can't do it. And that's Kaden's motto. You already guys know that. If Kaden can, you can too. That's our whole thing with all of our clients that we work with. We make sure they understand that you're here for a reason. You have a purpose for what you do. And most importantly, when we come in contact with people, it's not by coincidence. All your steps are ordered. They're for a reason. So anything we can do to help add value to you or your family, reach out to us. We're very accessible. We're not into all that highfalutin stuff. It's just us. We just hang out. We just good old cool people. T-shirt, sweatshirt, jeans. That's me.
Right. We're super plain. But I love exotic trips, so.
That we do.
You won't see me with any like expensive bags or expensive shoes. Like Sean has more clothes in the closet than me.
And shoes.
And shoes.
But let's talk about shoes.
But I like exotic trips, so.
I counted up all my tennis shoes the other day. I think I got like 14 pair. And out of all 14 pair, they don't even come up to over $400, I don't think. we simple. We are very simple people. We use our money, and keep in mind, money is neither good nor bad. Money just amplifies and takes on the characteristics of the person in possession of it. We use our money to create memories.
Yes.
Create memories and have options. That's the purpose of money. So hopefully that was a great value add to you guys out there. Again, reach out to us. You guys can always reach us through growfamilylegacy.com. If you would like to have a strategy session with us, map out a blueprint for your family, reach out. So again, anything we can do to help you guys out, we're here.